What's in a name? That which we call a turkey vulture by any other name would smell as sweet. Alas, during the season of Thanksgiving, I give thanks to not just Shakespeare, but also the turkey vulture. And we're going to take a closer look at that, their name. Why are they called turkeys? And do they actually have anything in common with turkeys? Got your slice of pumpkin pie ready? With whipped cream? Good. Now join the safari and let's get started. So first things first, where could you find a turkey vulture and a wild turkey? Conveniently, both are found in North America. However, the turkey vulture is much more widespread across the whole of the Americas. They are known as New World vultures because there's actually many different species of vulture, which you can find out more in my other video in the link below after this one. And unlike some of their other vulture cousins, luckily turkey vultures are a rather common sight in the skies. So let's work our way down this beautiful bird to find out just how similar they are to wild turkeys. Starting first and foremost with their bald head. Their bald head is linked to the fact that they eat carrion, and sometimes, well, most of the time I imagine, eating carrion can be quite messy. So not having any feathers up top, which they would need to clean afterwards, is rather useful. You see this across a few other vulture species as well. To help the turkey vulture find their food, they have a well-developed sense of smell. In fact, they have one of the largest olfactory systems of any bird species. And you might think, carrion is just carrion, right? Well, it turns out not all carrion is created equal. The turkey vulture, if it was to come to your Thanksgiving meal, would be very particular about what kind of carrion you would present to it. Or I guess it would sniff out. They prefer their carrion to be not much older than 24 hours old. And it's this sense of smell that is one of the biggest, quite literally, differences between a wild turkey and a turkey vulture. For the wild turkey has very small olfactory lobes, suggesting that their sense of smell isn't that great and rather poorly developed. Now, if you were trying to set a Thanksgiving feast to attract a wild turkey, you would be grateful to hear you wouldn't need to provide carrion. Instead, they prefer acorns, hickory nuts, berries, crab apples, a whole host of certainly seeming more appetizing foods than carrion. Now, when it comes to finding food, here again is another big difference between the turkey vulture and the wild turkey. Turkey vultures tend to be rather clumsy on land, but boy are they certainly majestic in the skies. To get up in the air though, they need a bit of a warm-up exercise, in the literal sense. You know the expression, early bird gets the worm? Well, that is not true in terms of the turkey vulture. For they often sit on branches that are in the morning light and stretch out their wings to literally soak up the sun and warm up from the overnight temperatures that can get quite cold. But they're also being rather patient as well, because to get to those high heights and soar to look for carrion, they rely on air thermals, which happen more later in the day once things have begun to warm up. However, wild turkeys, they're a bit quicker to the punch, or quicker to the worm if we're going to use that example, for they tend to be more active in the morning and early afternoon. Now, you probably won't be surprised to find out which of the two birds could really go the distance. Wild turkeys, well, if they need to fly, they can fly into short bursts for no more than about 100 yards. Whereas turkey vultures, if they time it right and get those air thermals working for them, they can travel for up to 200 miles a day. Ooh, that is quite the distance. To help the turkey vulture achieve these fantastic distances, they have a wingspan of up to 6 feet in length, whereas wild turkeys have a bit of a smaller one. Their wingspan only gets up to about 4.6 feet in length. Now, if those weren't big enough differences between a turkey vulture and a wild turkey, just wait for this one. I was surprised to find out that turkey vultures don't actually have a voice box, so they can actually only hiss and grunt. Whereas, of course, our friends, the turkeys, can certainly gobble gobble and make quite a bit more noise. In fact, I found this pretty incredible website that has a list with examples of a variety of different wild turkey calls. So it turns out they do a lot more than just gobble gobble. In the beginning, I mentioned that turkey vultures need to warm up and wait for the air around them to warm up as well to get into those air thermals. But what happens when it gets too hot? You may have heard that some birds actually pee on themselves to help cool off, and turkey vultures do this. It's called urohydrosis, and I know it might seem gross, but it's believed to not only help with cooling off, but can also help get rid of some bacteria, because as we know, they eat carrion, and that can lead to quite some dirty situations. Which is why turkey vultures, like the other vultures around the world, are so important to our ecosystems and to our planet. They are nature's cleanup crew. Without them, well, things would just be rather dirty and gross, quite frankly. So it's sad to sometimes hear of the bad reputation that these birds get, but even more so, the threats that are facing them that we have the power to stop. Luckily, with turkey vultures, we did manage to make a stop to what was harming these amazing birds. If you've watched some of my videos before, you'll know DDT. Now, this pesticide was in fact the cause of the decline of the turkey vulture in the 1950s and 1960s, before it was banned in the 1970s. I'm pleased to say that the turkey vulture has fared a lot better than some of its other amazing vulture cousins. For more information, be sure to check out the links in the description below. So, were you surprised to find out just how different the turkey vulture and wild turkey really are? If so, why not give this video a thumbs up and share it with a friend in the spirit of Thanksgiving? Speaking of thanks, I am certainly thankful for vultures. I don't know about you, but I find them utterly fascinating. In fact, I did a video on them for Vulture Awareness Day, which you can click on conveniently right here. Go on, click it. I'll see you over there. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in that video.